Good morning. Yeah, I made it to adjust my heat. I'm coming from Brussels, Belgium, and happy to represent here Belgium, where there are many German participants exist. Today, I will talk about to you from a different perspective, where Chandra also introduced some new aspects. Hopefully, today you will learn two new things which is going to shape the next data economy. DPP is a digital product passport things. I would like to ask the audience, have you ever heard digital product passport before? Okay, so thank you very much, Chandra. Looks like that is going to be first time the audience is going to be hearing about this novel data economy tool, which is going to be your everyday life mandatory things. But before that, for DPP creation, we needed data infrastructures, where Chandra also introduced to you that in the Europe that we have in the phase of structuring new data infrastructures, where we will be having our data exchange in a sovereign, trust way, and where the data is also create new values. We are discussing here that value creation is not just a business, but it's also from the end user as a person, as a human being, how we will be involving this new data economy. So in that case, how can I describe as let's say, legal term, data space is an ecosystem where different participants are agreeing to share data and make create revenue generation over this data sharing concept. I keep it on the data sharing, but based on the discussion, it's not sharing, but also visiting, but also building on the secondary data using and stuff and so on. So imagine that. I like to give this, let's say, definition that data space is going to be like data highways, where you will be able to have a speed, where you will be able to have rules, where you will be able to have go from A to Z in a different way. So in that case, how we are going to going with the data spaces, that how data space is going to be offering for different participants, for data owners. I'm getting a lot of questions that when particularly big organizations, big companies who have their own big data sets. So they will be the one who is providing, they will be creating offerings from them. And also, organization with their existing architectures will be also adapted, will be also be integrated to current systems. It's not, let's say, creating a burden for the legacy system, but it's also creating a transformation, creating a transition path to more interconnected, more interoperable areas where the data is also involving the end user, also the consumers, to create their own values. I said in the beginning that digital product passport is the new enabler of this data economy. Digital product passport, you may heard from the European exporters, you may hear from the European colleagues a lot, but you might end up in a wrong way. Although it kicked off by the European Commission under the SPR, Eco-Design Sustainable Product Regulations, there is also global initiatives who is creating the product identities, who is creating the product passport under the UN, where I am also representing Belgium. We do also creating the global digital product passport frameworks and initiatives. Imagine that as a person, you are traveling from one country to the other country, that you need a passport, you need some certain visa or some certain documentations which are being carried out by your passport. This is going to be the same. This is going to be applied to the product, the physical products, where they will be originated, where will they be manufactured, remanufactured, exported, and so on. So it is going to have those kind of details, and there will be some phases of the DPP implementation by 2027, by 2030, by 2030. By the 2027 one, as like person, you will be knowing the origin of the product, where it's originally been manufactured, and what are the ECG details, the energy, water, who work for it, and so on. So at the very first time that now the consumers is controlling the data economy by choosing, we'll be able to have this transparent, the information regarding the product as well. Sorry. And of course, just one thing I would like to add here, that the current products are being leaning on not a circular practices, but by starting from few years, you will be able to have your rights by having this T-shirt, by having an electronic cars, that you will be able to see the details, your own rights, that do I have a repair, do I have a maintenance, what is the responsibility of the producers and so on. So those things will be systematically trackable and monitorable via the digital product passport system. I call it a system because it is not just, let's say, composed of only original equipment manufacturers, we call them OEM, or it's not just the consumers. It includes every participants, including the public, including the custom units, including the relevant ministries, including the authorities. Of course, those systems are going to be also included national registry organizations, including the original national ID givers, ID authenticators. So with that one, I'm just showing you now the ESPR guidelines. This is an official document. By 2030, in 8 years from now, you will be able to, as a customer, as a person, as a human being, you will be responsible for your own consumption. You will be responsible from your carbon footprint, the things by how you are consuming it. And of course, this is going to affect the whole supply chain actors here by not using the virgin materials, that how they are implementing the circularity in their own process. So that all going to be traceable and monitorable. So I hope I could create some sort of a system how the DPP is going to be changing the current economic practices and how it's going to be pushing and how it's going to be promoting the circular aspects in every domain. I should also add that ESPR and the mandate compulsory DPP is going to be applied for textile and the battery by 1st January 2027. So you have almost 1 year to prepare to be able to still operationally to export to Europe and of course upcoming regions as well. But Europe is known for the regulations, but hopefully this way it's going to be accepted in a good way. So that is an important step, that is an important moment that we are, let's say, living right now. But today I would like to give you this baseline to be able to how this is going to also shape current practices apart from the manufacturers, apart from other, let's say, supply chain actors. Imagine that you are now only producing and manufacturing one single the product, but in the future, you will be able to have new business models, you will have new businesses because of your responsibility, because of the regulations, such as you will be creating a new business for collection of something or recycling of those materials and so on. So DPP is also extending the current product, let's say, sales cycle into a different, let's say, into different areas where you will be also still be getting the value, still be creating a sales operation from different phases of the product, from different phases of the operation. And the good thing is that how you are doing is going to be also over the DPP system. This is going to be, of course, connected with the data spaces, infrastructure. As a sort of, I don't want to name the T-shirt, but you have a very, let's say, luxurious brand, a T-shirt and a good, or a very, let's say, expensive watch, and you will be easily to sell it in the secondary market with electronically, let's say, certifications, and also the ownership declaration will be handed over to another client who is another person who is looking for your watch or your good. So this is going to be possible also not only the economies or not just the business practices, but also supported by the regulation, supported by the national initiatives. In that regard, I also would like to underline that currently the Indian ecosystem is not that aware of what's coming to them and what's going to happen to them in the preparation of free trade agreement when the FTA happens. It's going to be very quick and very, let's say, urgent actions to be applied that current practices, current Indian regulations such as circularity, such as GDPR, needs to be complied with the European equivalent. Just to make sure that the operations, international trade operations, will continuously be on. Otherwise, I know that India is a very good import economy, but even for the importing, you will need to implement digital product passport system, and also you need to also adapt and transfer your current product regulations into ESPR relevant one. And I also would like to finalize those things that maybe it's time for the Indian colleagues, Indian audiences to start very small piloting operations, because digital product passport is not going to be limited only batteries or textile. There's a 25, let's say, priority sectors such as steel, where India is a very huge giant, let's say, manufacturers and processor. And there's going to be rare earth materials, there's going to be construction materials, there's going to be electronics, semiconductors, also medical equipments, materials, pharmaceuticals. It's going to go on this way, where as a consumer, you will know the origin of your product and how this journey has happened, and you will be still being part of that economy via thanks to DPP. I hope I could explain you these two new novel things, that how it's going to affect your life in a different way. I'm happy to have your questions if you have any, and then I'm happy to be here. Thanks for your invitation. It's my first time in Bangalore in India.